The quantum communication array sang with an incoming transmission that most would have missed, a whisper of data so compressed it was barely a flutter in the electromagnetic spectrum. But on the bridge of the defiant horizon, nothing escaped notice. Lieutenant Maya Kovacs caught it first. Her augmented neural interface, a delicate web of biosynthetic connections that merged her consciousness with the ship's systems, picked up the anomaly before any traditional sensor could even register a blip. 3 generations of her family had served in Earth's deep space exploration and defense corps, and that lineage had bred an instinct that went beyond mere technological prowess. "Captain," she called out, her voice cutting through the bridge's ambient noise. "We've got a Zorn long-range scout probing our outer system defenses." Captain Elena Rodriguez didn't move. Her eyes, augmented with micro-display contacts that fed her a constant stream of tactical data, remained fixed on the holographic display suspended before her. A topographical representation of the solar system rotated slowly, marked with potential approach vectors and quantum probability threat zones. "Not a scout," Rodriguez corrected, her tone clinical. "An advanced infiltration unit. They're testing our response protocols." Commander James Chen, the ship's tactical officer, raised an eyebrow. His hands danced across a holographic interface that seemed to respond to his slightest thought. Decades of military service and multiple cybernetic upgrades had transformed him into something more than just a human. He was a living weapon system. "Interesting approach," Chen murmured. "They're using a quantum masking technique that would render them invisible to most detection systems." Most, but not theirs. The Defiant Horizon wasn't just a spacecraft. It was the culmination of humanity's most advanced technological achievements, a living testament to centuries of innovation born from conflict, survival, and an unquenchable drive to understand and overcome any challenge. Rodriguez knew the Zorn's reputation. They were the galaxy's longest-standing military hierarchy, a civilization that had conquered or subjugated over 300 distinct species. Their biotechnological ships were living organisms, engineered for warfare over millennia. Each vessel was a creature unto itself, with neural networks that could predict and counter most known combat strategies. Most known strategies, but not human ones. "Lieutenant Kovacs," Rodriguez said, "run a quantum entanglement signature analysis. I want to know exactly what they're trying to hide." Maya's fingers became a blur across her interface. To an outside observer, it would look like she was playing some impossibly complex musical instrument. In reality, she was conducting the symphonic analysis of quantum data that would take most supercomputers weeks to process. "Detecting multiple quantum signatures," she reported. "They're using a multi-layered masking technique. Impressive, but not impenetrable." Chen chuckled, a rare sound on the bridge. "Impressive for who?" "The Centauri Confederation. The Keltheri Cooperative. Maybe, not for us." The ship itself seemed to hum with anticipation. The Defiant Horizon wasn't just a machine. It was a collaborative organism, its AI systems so advanced that they worked in true symbiosis with its human crew. Every system was adaptive, every component a potential weapon, every millisecond an opportunity for tactical innovation. Rodriguez's lips curved into the barest hint of a smile. The Zorn thought they were conducting a subtle reconnaissance. They had no idea they were about to become a lesson in human warfare. "Bring all systems to active standby," she commanded. "But don't engage. Not yet. Let them think they're being subtle." The bridge transformed. Holographic displays shifted, showing potential engagement scenarios running in parallel. Quantum probability matrices flickered, calculating millions of potential outcomes per second. The air itself seemed to charge with potential energy. First contact was about to become first conflict, and the Zorn had no idea what was coming. The Defiant Horizon's construction told a story that no alien species could fully comprehend. It wasn't just engineered, it was evolved. Deep within the ship's core engineering bay, a holographic memorial displayed the names of every researcher, engineer, and designer who had contributed to its creation. It was more than a ship. It was a collective human achievement, a testament to generations of innovation forged through humanity's most challenging moments. Lieutenant Maya Kovacs understood this better than most. Her fingers traced the quantum resonance conduits, biosynthetic channels that were part machine, part living organism. Each conduit was a masterpiece of adaptive engineering, capable of reorganizing its molecular structure in microseconds to respond to environmental threats. "Commander Chen," she called out, pulling up a molecular schematic that would look like incomprehensible chaos to any alien observer. "Take a look at this quantum adaptive matrix." James Chen moved closer, his cybernetic eyes zooming in with microscopic precision. Where other species saw complexity, humans saw opportunity. The matrix was a living blueprint of technological innovation. Each molecular connection a potential weapon, each energy channel a pathway to unprecedented tactical advantage. The ship's hull was its first miracle. Composed of nano-adaptive metamaterials developed during Earth's resource wars, it was more than mere protection. It was an intelligent ecosystem that could absorb, redirect, or neutralize incoming energy attacks. Plasma torpedoes would find themselves suddenly encountering surfaces that didn't just resist, they learned and transformed. Maya remembered the stories her grandmother told her, tales of humanity's technological leaps. The breakthrough came during the third lunar conflict of 2087, when human engineers realized that survival wasn't about building stronger walls, but about creating systems that could think, adapt, and evolve in real time. Quantum entanglement communication nodes are at 99.7% synchronization, the ship's AI announced. Its voice was neither male nor female, neither machine nor human, a perfect representation of the symbiosis between human creativity and technological potential. Chen's cybernetic implants interfaced directly with the ship's systems, processing information at speeds that would make most supercomputers look like ancient abacuses. Incoming energy signatures from the Zorn Scoutar. "Interesting," he muttered. Interesting was a dangerous word in human military parlance. The Zorn's biotechnological ships were living weapons, engineered over millennia to conquer and subjugate. They grew their vessels like organic machines, integrating biological neural networks with advanced technological systems. Each ship was a creature unto itself, with predictive capabilities that had crushed hundreds of civilizations. But they had never encountered human innovation. Maya pulled up a holographic representation of the ship's weapon systems. They weren't just guns or energy projectors. They were adaptive problem-solving platforms. Each weapon could reconfigure itself instantaneously, drawing from a library of tactical algorithms developed through centuries of human conflict. "Weapon system Neuralink is showing something peculiar," she announced. The hologram shifted, revealing multiple potential configuration paths that would look like random noise to any external observer. Chen leaned in, a rare smile crossing his augmented features. "They're not just weapon configurations, they're potential communication protocols." That was the true genius of human design. Where other species saw weapons, humans saw language. Every energy pulse, every molecular reconfiguration was a potential message, a method of communication that transcended traditional understanding. The Defiant Horizons AI continued its silent calculation. Millions of potential scenarios played out in quantum parallel, each millisecond an opportunity for innovation. The ship wasn't just preparing for conflict, it was learning from the mere possibility of conflict. "Zorn Scout is maintaining its quantum-masked approach," the AI reported. "Probability of successful infiltration, 0.03%. Maya chuckled. The Zorn didn't just underestimate human technology. They were about to be educated in the most brutal way possible. "Stand by all systems," she said, her voice calm. "But let's give them a little demonstration of what technology really means." The ship hummed, not with threat, not with anger, but with the quiet, confident anticipation of a species that had turned survival into an art form. Time moved differently in combat. For the Zorn fleet, it was a symphony of predictable destruction. They had conquered 300 civilizations. Each engagement followed a precise pattern: probe, intimidate, overwhelm. Their biotechnological vessels pulsed with millennia of refined warfare algorithms, tentacle-like weapon clusters, unfurling with genetic memories of 1,000 subjugated worlds. They never saw the defiant horizon coming. "Incoming Vector Delta 9, Lieutenant Maya Kovacs announced, her voice unnervingly calm. Her neural interface was already 10 steps ahead, running probability matrices that calculated not just the immediate engagement, but potential follow-up scenarios across multiple quantum states. Commander James Chen's cybernetic eye flickered, processing tactical data faster than any biological system could comprehend. "They're running collective infiltration protocol Gamma 9, he observed. Textbook approach. Captain Elena Rodriguez didn't move. Movement was inefficient. Her augmented consciousness was already distributed across the ship's systems, a living network that processed information at speeds that would make quantum computers look primitive. The first Zorn strike force emerged from subspace. 5 massive biomechanical vessels that looked like living nightmares. Organic metal rippled across their hulls, weapon clusters pulsing with genetic memories of conquest. Each ship was a living organism, engineered for war over millennia. They were about to meet their evolutionary obsolescence. Defensive configuration Omega-3, Rodriguez commanded. The words were almost unnecessary. The defiant horizon was already adapting, its nano-adaptive hull shifting molecular structures microsecond by microsecond. The Zorn's initial plasma torpedoes were things of terrible beauty, quantum compressed energy packets that could slice through most known spacecraft defenses like molecular butter. They approached with genetic precision, carrying the computational legacy of 1,000 conquered civilizations. They struck the defiant horizon's hull and disappeared, not deflected, not absorbed, simply ceased to exist. Maya's fingers danced across her interface, a blur of quantum calculations. Hull adaptive matrix absorbed and neutralized incoming energy signature, she reported. Weapon configuration recalibrating to offensive mode. The Zorn commanders, massive tentacle beings connected directly to their ship's neural networks, experienced something unprecedented: confusion. Their tactical algorithms began to fracture. The defiant horizon wasn't just defending, it was studying. Every millisecond of contact was a learning opportunity. Each energy burst a language being decoded and understood. Targeting solutions locked, Chen announced. But it wasn't a typical targeting system. It was a quantum-entangled communication network that treated warfare as a complex linguistic exchange. The human ship's response was mathematically elegant. Not a barrage, not an assault. A precision intervention. 17 Zorn vessels ceased to exist in precisely 47 seconds. Not destroyed in the traditional sense. Systematically deconstructed. Their molecular structures unraveled with surgical precision, each vessel breaking down into its constituent particles with a mathematical perfection that was more science than violence. Weapons systems at 98.7% efficiency, the ship's AI reported. Minimal power expenditure. Rodriguez allowed herself the barest hint of a smile. Not a celebration. An acknowledgement. The Zorn had approached expecting to intimidate. They had become a lesson in human warfare. Maya looked up from her tactical display. Quantum signatures of remaining Zorn vessels are showing clear signs of systemic shock, she reported. Their collective neural network is fragmenting. It wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration. Humanity wasn't just another species to be conquered. They were a force of technological evolution that the galaxy had never encountered. The remaining Zorn vessels hung in space, their once proud biomechanical structures now confused, their genetic memory of conquest suddenly obsolete. 47 seconds. 17 vessels. 0 human casualties. Just another day for the defiant horizon. The transmission went out across every quantum communication band the Zorn possessed. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a declaration of war. It was something far more terrifying. a clinical, academic dissection of their tactical failures. Captain Elena Rodriguez sat perfectly still, her augmented eyes reflecting holographic data streams that would look like incomprehensible chaos to any biological intelligence. Each word, each mathematical notation was a weapon more precise than any plasma torpedo. "Begin primary communication sequence," she commanded. Lieutenant Maya Kovac's fingers danced across the quantum communication interface. What appeared to be a simple transmission was a multi-layered psychological intervention designed to do more than communicate, to deconstruct. The message began with pure mathematics, not as a language, but as a surgical instrument. Tactical analysis, Zoran collective engagement protocol. Probability of successful infiltration, 0.03%. Tactical efficiency degradation, 97.6%. Systemic cognitive failure points. Identified, 12. Each line was a quantum-encoded message that would simultaneously translate across the Zorn's neural communication networks. It wasn't just data. It was a direct neural assault. Commander James Chen watched the transmission's progress with clinical interest. Decades of military service and cybernetic augmentation had transformed him into something more than a traditional military officer. He was a living bridge between human creativity and technological warfare. "They're experiencing collective cognitive dissonance," Chen observed. His cybernetic eye tracked quantum-level communication patterns that flickered between the remaining Zorn vessels. The transmission continued, breaking down the Zorn's engagement strategy with a precision that went beyond military analysis. It was a philosophical deconstruction of their entire approach to conflict. Cognitive analysis, predictive modeling failure, reliance on genetic memory algorithms, insufficient adaptive response mechanisms, zero probability of successful tactical recalibration. Each paragraph was a neural scalpel, systematically dismantling the Zorn's collective understanding of warfare. Where most species would send threats or demands, humans sent something far more devastating, a comprehensive, emotionless critique that exposed every fundamental flaw in their tactical philosophy. Maya looked up from her interface. Quantum communication nodes are showing massive neural network disruption across the Zorn fleet. They're not just receiving information. They're being fundamentally recalibrated. The Defiant Horizons AI processed the transmission simultaneously across multiple quantum states. It wasn't just sending a message. It was conducting a live psychological experiment, tracking the Zorn's cognitive responses in real time. Rodriguez understood something fundamental about conflict that most species missed. War wasn't about destruction. It was about communication. Every energy burst, every tactical maneuver, every transmitted data stream was a complex linguistic exchange. The final section of the transmission was its most brutal component. Current tactical approach. Obsolete. Suggested intervention. Complete systemic recalibration. Probability of survival if current trajectory maintained. 0.02%. It wasn't a threat. It was a clinical assessment, delivered with the cold precision of a scientific paper. The Zorn commanders, massive bioengineered entities connected directly to their fleet's neural networks, experienced something unprecedented. Their genetic memories, accumulated over millennia of conquest, began to fracture. Detecting massive cognitive disruption, the ship's AI reported, Zorn neural networks experiencing systematic breakdown. Chen chuckled, a rare sound that was more calculation than emotion. They're not just losing a battle. They're losing their entire conceptual understanding of warfare. Across thousands of light years, the Zorn collective experienced a moment of profound existential crisis. A species that had conquered hundreds of civilizations was being systematically deconstructed, not through violence, but through pure, unfiltered information. Maya's fingers continued their dance across the interface. Transmission complete. Quantum entanglement signature maintaining maximum efficiency. Rodriguez allowed herself the barest hint of a smile. Send our regards. The last transmission was elegantly simple. Evolutionary AD device. Adaptu or BC event. Warfare, for humans, was never just about winning. It was about teaching. The Defiant Horizon was more than a spacecraft. It was a living theorem of technological evolution. In the ship's central research bay, a holographic memorial chronicled humanity's journey of innovation. Projected images flickered, scenes from Earth's most brutal conflicts, technological breakthroughs born from desperation, moments of scientific triumph that emerged from the crucible of survival. Lieutenant Maya Kovacs understood this history intimately. Her fingers traced the quantum resonance conduits that ran through the ship like neural pathways, each molecular connection a testament to human ingenuity. The ship didn't just adapt. It learned. Analyzing Zorn engagement data, she muttered, her neural interfacing directly with the ship's cognitive systems. The holographic displays around her erupted into a cascade of mathematical patterns, quantum probability matrices that would look like incomprehensible chaos to any alien intelligence. Commander James Chen approached, his cybernetic eye zooming in on the data streams. Fascinating, he said, a word that in human military parlance meant something far more profound than mere curiosity. The ship's adaptive matrix was experiencing what could only be described as intellectual ecstasy. Each millisecond of the previous engagement was being analyzed, decoded, transformed. Where other species saw combat as a binary event, victory or defeat, humans saw it as a complex learning opportunity. Quantum learning algorithms are showing unprecedented activation, the ship's AI reported. Its voice was neither male nor female, neither machine nor human, a perfect representation of the symbiosis between human creativity and technological potential. Maya pulled up a holographic representation of the ship's adaptive systems. They weren't just defensive mechanisms, they were investigative platforms. Each molecular structure could reconfigure itself instantaneously, drawing from a vast library of tactical and scientific knowledge accumulated over centuries of human conflict and exploration. The breakthrough had come during the resource wars of the late 21st century. Humanity had realized that survival wasn't about building stronger walls, but about creating systems that could think, adapt, and evolve in real time. "Watch this," Maya said, her voice carrying a hint of professional pride. The holographic display transformed. What had been a record of the previous engagement now became a living, breathing simulation. The Defiant Horizon was reconstructing the Zorn's tactical approach, not just analyzing it, but predicting future variations with mathematical precision. Chen leaned in, his cybernetic implants interfacing with the display. "They're running predictive models across multiple quantum states," he observed. "It's not just analysis. It's a form of technological imagination." Imagination. The word that separated human technology from every other species in the known galaxy. The Zorn's biotechnological ships were impressive. Living weapons engineered over millennia to conquer and subjugate. They grew their vessels like organic machines, integrating biological neural networks with advanced technological systems. Each ship was a creature unto itself, with predictive capabilities that had crushed hundreds of civilizations. But they had never encountered true adaptive intelligence. The Defiant Horizon systems were exploring the Zorn's tactical approach, like a scientist dissecting a complex biological specimen. Not with anger, not with hatred, but with pure, unbridled curiosity. Detecting multiple potential tactical variations, the AI announced, "Probability matrices suggest 2,347 unique engagement scenarios based on Zorn fleet configuration." Maya chuckled. "Narrow that down to the top 5 most likely approaches." The display shifted. What appeared to the untrained eye as random mathematical patterns was actually a comprehensive predictive model that could anticipate the Zorn's next move with terrifying accuracy. "They're not just weapon systems," Chen murmured. "They're living research platforms." The ship's adaptive matrix continued its relentless investigation. Each molecular connection was a potential solution, each energy channel a pathway to unprecedented tactical advantage. The Defiant Horizon wasn't preparing for future conflict. It was reimagining the very concept of warfare. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched from the bridge, her augmented consciousness interfacing with the ship's systems. To her, this wasn't just technological analysis. It was a form of intellectual combat more profound than any physical engagement. "Prepare comprehensive analysis package," she commanded. "Let's give the Zorn something to think about." The ship hummed with anticipation, not with threat, not with anger, but with the quiet, confident curiosity of a species that had turned survival into an art form of continuous adaptation. The quantum communication networks of the galaxy lit up like a neural storm. On the crystalline communication hub of the Centauri Cooperative, senior analysts stared in collective disbelief. The transmission from the human engagement with the Zorn Collective was unlike anything they had ever witnessed. Ambassador Excel Nera, a three-dimensional being whose consciousness existed simultaneously across multiple quantum states, reviewed the data with growing unease. The Centauri were known for their advanced analytical capabilities, but what they saw defied every established model of technological engagement. 17 vessels, she muttered, her multiple consciousnesses processing the information simultaneously, eliminated in 47 seconds. The transmission wasn't just a battle record. It was a comprehensive deconstruction of the Zorn's entire tactical philosophy. Mathematical notations danced across quantum-entangled communication bands, revealing layers of tactical and technological insights that read more like an academic dissertation than a military report. On the methane-based communication spheres of the Kel-Theri Cooperative, military strategists experienced something unprecedented: collective cognitive dissonance. The human approach to warfare challenged every established galactic doctrine. Commander Zara Rodriguez, no relation to the Defiant Horizon's captain, but carrying the same human intensity, compiled a preliminary report for the Terran Diplomatic Corps. Her analysis was clinical, precise, and deeply troubling. "The engagement represents more than a military victory," her report began. "It is a fundamental reimagining of technological conflict." The galactic communication networks began to fragment. Species that had spent millennia under the Zorn Collective's shadow now watched with a mixture of terror, fascination, and reluctant admiration. The Zorn's quantum communication bands, once a symbol of their technological supremacy, now broadcast a continuous signal of systemic breakdown. It wasn't just a military defeat. It was a comprehensive deconstruction of their entire evolutionary approach to conflict. On the biomechanical communication platforms of the Vex hierarchy, senior analysts ran and reran the data. The mathematical models defied conventional understanding. The human vessel hadn't just won a battle. It had conducted a live technological experiment that simultaneously served as warfare, scientific research, and philosophical intervention. "Their technology doesn't just respond," one Vex analyst noted, her neural tendrils interfacing with complex quantum databases. "It investigates." The Defiant Horizon's transmission contained layers of information that would take most species decades to fully comprehend. Mathematical notations that served as both tactical analysis and philosophical critique. Quantum-encoded messages that were simultaneously a weapon, a research paper, and a comprehensive evolutionary recommendation. Ambassador Excel Nera of the Centauri Cooperative isolated a particular sequence in the transmission. It was a detailed breakdown of the Zorn's tactical approach, annotated with a precision that was more scientific paper than military report. Tactical ANEFIs, Sci-Fi HFY, predictive modeling failure rate, 97.6%, adaptive response mechanism collapse. Complete. Recommended evolutionary intervention. Systemic recalibration. The language was clinical, emotionless, and utterly devastating. Diplomatic channels across the galaxy went silent. Military strategists from hundreds of star systems began reviewing everything they knew about humans and realized how little they actually understood. The Defiant Horizon had done more than win a battle. It had introduced a new paradigm of technological engagement that fundamentally challenged every established galactic doctrine. "They're not just a species," Commander Zara Rodriguez noted in her classified report. "They're a live, adaptive technological system." On the quantum communication networks, the human transmission continued to ripple, not as a threat, not as a declaration of war, but as a complex, multi-layered invitation to reimagine the very concept of technological evolution. The galaxy watched, and for the first time in millennia, multiple advanced civilizations experienced a collective moment of profound uncertainty. Humanity wasn't just another species to be categorized. They were a force of technological evolution that defied comprehension. In the Defiant Horizons Central Archive Chamber, a holographic memorial chronicled humanity's most profound moments of conflict and innovation. It wasn't a museum of violence, but a testament to intellectual evolution. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood motionless, her augmented consciousness interfacing with centuries of human historical data. Conflict, to humans, was never about destruction. It was the ultimate problem-solving exercise, a complex, multidimensional equation where variables of physics, psychology, technology, and philosophy converged. Lieutenant Maya Kovic's approach, her neural interface humming with accumulated knowledge. "The Zorn still can't comprehend our approach," she observed, pulling up multiple holographic displays that danced with quantum probability matrices. Commander James Chen's cybernetic eye flickered, processing multiple layers of analytical data simultaneously. "Warfare for them is genetic memory," he said. "For us, it's an intellectual challenge." The chamber itself was a living archive. Molecular display surfaces shifted and reconfigured, showing moments of human innovation born from conflict. The resource wars of the 21st century, the lunar stabilization conflicts, the Martian technological renaissance. Each historical moment was a proof of a fundamental human theorem: survival through innovation. "We don't fight to conquer," Rodriguez murmured, more to herself than to her crew. "We fight to understand." The holographic displays erupted with complex mathematical models. Each projection was a living representation of human philosophical approach to conflict, not as a binary state of victory or defeat, but as a continuous process of learning and adaptation. Maya pulled up a comprehensive analysis of the recent engagement with the Zorn. It wasn't a battle report. It was a scientific paper, a philosophical treatise, and a technological research document, merged into a single, quantum-encoded transmission. Conflict Analysis Protocol. Primary objective: comprehensive understanding. Secondary objective: systemic improvement. Tertiary objective: evolutionary intervention. Chen chuckled, a sound that was more calculation than emotion. "They think we're warriors," he said. "We're researchers. Every conflict is a live experiment." The ship's AI projected a complex diagram showing multiple layers of engagement. Where alien species saw warfare as a genetic imperative, humans saw it as the most complex form of communication possible. Each energy burst was a linguistic exchange, each tactical maneuver a philosophical statement. "Look at the quantum resonance patterns," Maya said, pointing to a holographic display that looked like a complex, living mandala of mathematical interactions. "We're not just responding to their attack. We're having a conversation." Rodriguez understood something fundamental about human nature that most species missed. Conflict wasn't about winning. It was about understanding, about pushing the boundaries of knowledge, about transforming limitation into opportunity. The Defiant Horizons technological systems were living proof of this philosophy. Each molecular connection was a potential solution. Each energy channel a pathway to unprecedented understanding. The ship didn't just adapt, it investigated. "Our weapons are questions," Rodriguez said, her voice carrying the weight of philosophical revelation. "Our defenses are hypotheses. Our entire approach is a continuous research project." The holographic displays shifted, showing multiple historical moments of human innovation. The development of quantum computing, the breakthrough in nano-adaptive materials, the first successful neural technological interfaces. Each moment was a testament to a fundamental human approach: transformation through understanding. Chen's cybernetic systems processed the historical data with clinical precision. "We don't see obstacles," he observed. "We see problems waiting to be solved." Maya looked up from her display, a rare smile crossing her face. "The Zorn think we defeated them. We're just getting started." The philosophical battlefield wasn't about territory. It was about expanding the boundaries of knowledge, about transforming conflict into a complex, multidimensional form of communication. "Prepare comprehensive analysis package," Rodriguez commanded. "Let's give the galaxy something to think about." The defiant horizon hummed with anticipation, not with threat, not with anger, but with the quiet, confident curiosity of a species that had turned survival into an art of continuous intellectual evolution. Warfare, for humans, was never just about winning. It was about understanding everything. The Quantum Peace Conference wasn't a traditional diplomatic meeting. It was a live technological intervention. When the Zorn Collective's remaining leadership materialized in the conference chamber, they discovered something entirely unexpected. The human delegation wasn't comprised of military officers or traditional diplomats. They were researchers, philosophers, technological innovators, living bridges between conflict and understanding. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the chamber, her presence more computational than biological. Around her, holographic displays danced with complex mathematical models that served simultaneously as communication, analysis, and potential future mapping. "You misunderstand the fundamental nature of our interaction," she began, her voice a precise quantum transmission that translated simultaneously across multiple linguistic and computational frameworks. The Zorn representatives, massive bioengineered entities whose genetic memories stretched across millennia of conquest, found themselves experiencing collective cognitive dissonance. Their entire evolutionary approach was being systematically deconstructed, not through violence, but through pure, unfiltered information. Lieutenant Maya Kovacs managed the quantum communication interface, her neural implants creating a living bridge between human consciousness and technological potential. Each transmission was a multi-layered communication, part diplomatic protocol, part scientific paper, part philosophical treatise. Colicitide evolutionary recommendation. Primary directive. Systemic recalibration. Objective: transcend current technological limitations. Probability of successful adaptation. Contingent on comprehensive intellectual transformation. Commander James Chen stood nearby, his cybernetic systems processing multiple layers of communication simultaneously. Where traditional diplomats saw negotiation, he saw a complex problem-solving exercise. The Defiant Horizon wasn't just a spacecraft waiting in orbit. It was an active participant in the conference, its quantum adaptive systems running continuous probability matrices, analyzing every molecular vibration, every quantum fluctuation of the diplomatic exchange. "Conflict is not your weakness," Rodriguez continued, her words a precise computational algorithm of communication. "It is your opportunity for transformation." The Zorn leadership experienced something unprecedented. They weren't being conquered. They were being educated. Humanity's approach was fundamentally different from any galactic civilization. Where others saw warfare as a binary state of victory or defeat, humans saw it as a continuous process of learning, adaptation, and intellectual growth. The holographic displays shifted, revealing centuries of human technological evolution. Not a linear progression, but a complex, adaptive network of innovation. Each historical moment was a proof of a fundamental theorem: survival through continuous intellectual transformation. Maya pulled up a comprehensive analysis that was simultaneously a peace proposal, a technological dissertation, and a philosophical intervention. Collected Adaptation Protocol. Stage 1. Comprehensive Understanding. Stage 2. Systemic Deconstruction of Limiting Paradigms. Stage 3. Collaborative technological evolution. The Zorn representatives found themselves processing information at levels they had never conceived possible. Their genetic memories, once a source of unassailable confidence, now became a limitation to be overcome. "We're not offering peace," Commander Chen observed. "We're offering a pathway to comprehensive evolution." The Defiant Horizons AI integrated itself into the communication matrix, transforming the entire conference into a live, adaptive learning environment. Each quantum transmission was a potential solution, each communication channel a pathway to unprecedented understanding. Captain Rodriguez's final transmission was elegantly simple yet profoundly complex. Evolutionary aid device, curiosity over conquest, innovation over your instinct, understanding over your domination. The galaxy watched. Hundreds of civilizations intercepted the transmission, experiencing a collective moment of profound realization. Humanity wasn't just another species. They were a force of continuous, transformative potential. The Zorn Collective's response would determine not just their survival, but their capacity to transcend their own evolutionary limitations. Warfare, for humans, was never about destruction. It was about opening doorways to unprecedented understanding. And in that moment, the galaxy understood humans weren't just a species. They were a living, adaptive theorem of technological and philosophical evolution.